the only reason why the Rangers had a chance. I mean, I can't. He made so many good stops in Game 1 where the Rangers really had no business being in the game. You know, it took me back to Game 6, all the way back in '94, the Eastern Conference Finals, where if some Ranger fans will recall that the Devils had a 2-0 lead on the Rangers. Game 6, they were up 3-2 in the series, and they just bombarded Mike Richter. And Mike Richter kept that game at 2-0. He stopped 4 2-on-1 breaks after it was 2-0 Devils, and slowly the Rangers found their pulse and were able to ultimately win that game in the series. And going back to this series, Game 1, I think we saw that. You know, the sluggish start. I think when Fost went down, it was a real wake-up call for the Rangers. You know, I think they were stunned by that, frankly, and I think it took them a while to recover. But as you saw throughout Game 2, the team's been resilient all year long. They started to find their pulse in the second period a little bit, and you know, they got a couple bad breaks, you know, with the goal off Stahl's skate, and you know, just a beautiful redirection by Aho for a power play goal for the second goal in Game 1. There's not much you can do about that. You know, they're just talented players. It was a great feed from Svechnikov to Aho, and just a perfectly placed redirection. So, yeah, absolutely. Henrik Lundqvist is not only the reason they were in Game 1, but as we move into, I don't think you could pin either of these losses on him. Not at all.
No, not at all. Yeah. I think, I mean, it's funny because I was watching a little bit of the game today. I think that first one that Svechnikov scored here this afternoon, of course, Rangers falling in Game 1 and Game 2 here today. The Canes winning by a score, I believe it was 4-1, the final today. I believe, you know, that one you could tell Lundqvist's reaction right away. He knew that that's one that he wants. And despite everyone's like, oh, he's old, he's getting to the point where he's, you know, getting ready to hang him up or at least take a back seat to someone, he knows he can still put up big games. And that's why Coach Quinn went with him, because he's had such a great track record against the Canes, not just, you know, in his career, but over this past season. So that's why he went back with him in Game 2, and he still played well for the most part. It's just the Canes were just able to overwhelm them from almost seemed to puck drop till the end, and it just didn't seem like the Rangers could get anything going offensively for a substantial amount of time.
Again, I don't disagree with you. Look, Lundqvist deserved to start today based on his play in Game 1. Okay, and he got the start today. I'm sure he would, I'm sure he would take back that first goal. I know it's snuck between, I believe, his arm and his body. Was that the puck went between his arm and his body and into the net, and it's probably a goal he'd want back. You know, the other two, the slap shot goal, I believe it was Svechnikov who wound up from the right point and blasted one over the shoulder of Lundqvist. It looked to me like the puck was fluttering and maybe Howden had gotten a stick on it and maybe slightly changed the direction of it. So it's kind of hard to pin that on him. And, of course, you know, Martinook's goal today, that was just the Rangers, they committed one turnover in the neutral zone. I believe it was Filipino. He got outside the blue line of the Rangers zone, and it looked good from there, but then he gave the puck to Carolina's defense. I don't know if it was a bad clear. Unfortunately, I didn't have an opportunity, obviously, to speak to him about it.
What do you mean? You just gotta jump. You just gotta jump in the bubble. They'll let you in, right? Just be like, "Excuse me, I'm with the Rangers."
I wish.
As long as you got a mask on.
I wish I would if I could, but honestly, I say that because Tyler, I don't like to rip guys, especially if I don't have a chance to give them their say. But from what it looked like, it looked like a bad dump in or maybe a misfire on a pass. Whatever the case, Carolina got the puck back in deep. The Rangers, nonetheless, still had a chance to clear the zone. And Tony DeAngelo tried to flip it out of the zone high, but not high enough. Carolina kept it in, sent it back in deep. And then Hedl, to his credit, he's trying to back check. He's a kid. He's near the crease. And he overskates the puck. And, it allowed Carolina to pick up the puck and just put in an easy goal past Lundqvist. So again, can't blame Lundqvist on that. I think the Rangers are just, I just think they're being outplayed. I think Zibanejad, Mika Zibanejad said it best. And after the first game, they outcompeted us. And I'm not sure that was the case in the first period. Today, I thought the Rangers had a pretty good first period. It doesn't help when you take a penalty 16 seconds into the game, like Pavel Buchnevich did,
right.
Especially a cross-checking penalty. It's just unnecessary, and it just, it slows down any momentum or any, excitement that you have coming out of the locker room. 16 seconds, boom, you're down.
Exactly.
Man. But they killed it off, and they battled back, and they actually finished the period strong. He could have been leading had it not been for a couple good saves by Mrazek.
Oh, yeah. He's made some big stops in this series for Carolina. But that leads us now to Game 3. And obviously, and a lot of people thought Igor Shesterkin was going to be the guy. He was going to be the starting goaltender. He doesn't dress in Game 1, doesn't play in Game 2. I mean, no one really knows what the word is with Shesterkin. That's why it's so weird how the NHL is really taking control on how people can see the injuries or what's released on them. I mean, we were talking about Mark Scheifele off the top of the show. I mean, that in particular, we still don't know what's wrong with him, even though he had an MRI. That said, though, do you still go back with Lundqvist in Game 3, or do you want to maybe try to shake it up a little bit and play maybe, if Shesterkin can't go, Alexander Georgiev, who had at times looked like a possible future number one goaltender? Do you go with the youngster in place of Game 3? I mean, if you're the Rangers, you're down 2-0. What do you got to lose?
You know what? I would go with Georgiev just to get a different look in there for the Canes. Again, I don't blame either of the losses on Lundqvist. Carolina did a tremendous job on the forecheck, the back check, winning battles on the walls, as I said before. Panarin today, for example, he had a goal, but it was a 5-on-3 goal. And that was one of 2 shot attempts he made. The other shot didn't make it to the goal. Right. And Coach Quinn, David Quinn, made a point of that after today's game. He said, Carolina's top players are all playing our top players, and that has to change. So that said, we're not pinning the losses on Lundqvist. Maybe Georgiev in there. It's a different look for the Hurricanes. Who knows what can happen? They've got nothing to lose. If nothing else, Georgiev's 24 years old. It'll be a good experience for him. Exactly. And that's the way you look at the series. If I'm a diehard Ranger fan, I'm looking at this series as this is sort of a bonus. In other words, they may or may not have made the playoffs had the COVID-19 pandemic not set in, right? So now that it forced the league to pause, the Rangers were able to get, I know it's technically not a playoff series, but it's a really, really good opportunity for a lot of the young kids on this team to get that type of experience, that playoff feel, the importance of the game. You see, a lot of the kids that were on the Rangers when they went 4-0 against the Hurricanes in the regular season are now finding out that things get turned up a few notches, right?
Just a little bit.
So, and that said, I think Georgiev, if Shesterkin can't go tomorrow, I think the Rangers, did right by Lundqvist by going with him, giving the veteran the start. It's probably his last year with the team. And I can't see where they lose by starting Georgiev. At the worst, they lose the game, Georgiev gets experience.
Exactly. I mean, it's not the same experience, obviously, had we would be under different circumstances, but just getting him in a playoff game of some stature, I'm sure would be great in terms of the development of the youngster. We have been talking with Scott Esposito at Blue Line Station. Scott, let's see what happens in Game 3. Hopefully, I said the Rangers were gonna win. I thought they were gonna pull it off. I said 5 games though. They've lost 2. I said 5. They lost 2. If they win 3 in a row, I'm a genius. If they lose, well, it'd be a normal day here on the Kuehl Show. That's for sure.
Hey, I picked them in 4, so that's not going to happen. So you're still one up on me.
Well, we'll have to see how that next game goes. Scott, thanks again for taking the time. You can follow Scott Esposito on Twitter at ScottEspo94. Follow Blue Line Station as well at Blue Line Station at Fansided. Thank you very much, Scott. We're going to take a pause here, folks. We're going to stop the stream. We're going to try to get everything figured out. We're still kind of glitching. Scott, thank you for putting up with us through this. The audio feed will be clean, though. That'll be up tomorrow, the re-recording. And Scott, thank you once again, man. And hopefully the Rangers have some hope. Hopefully at least get one win so they can at least have something to tip their hat to.
My pleasure. I'm just happy hockey's back, and I really appreciate you having me on.
And appreciate you too, Scott. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care.
All right, we'll be right back here, folks. We'll take a break here. We'll stop the stream, like I said. Hopefully, I'm able to get this thing figured out. We still have a little over an hour to go left in the show. Hopefully, we're able to figure it out. We'll talk to you just a little bit here, hopefully, here on The Kuehl Show.